While the world panics over the escalating US-Iran conflict, a quiet group of people are using this exact geopolitical tension to become psychologically untouchable. You see it everywhere right now. Breaking news alerts flash in red, social media feeds are flooded with apocalyptic predictions, and a collective anxiety has gripped the global consciousness. People are reacting, freezing, or scrambling out of pure fear. But what if this moment is not just a threat, but a profound psychological test? What if the chaos unfolding on the world stage is the ultimate wake-up call for your own mind?
When faced with massive external uncertainty, like the rumblings of international war, the human brain desperately seeks the illusion of control. For many, this translates into physical hoarding. Stockpiling canned goods, hoarding supplies, or obsessively refreshing news feeds feels like action, but it is often just fear dressed up as preparation. This physical accumulation does absolutely nothing to fortify the one asset you actually need when the world turns upside down: your mind. True survival is not about having a bunker full of supplies. It is about cultivating an internal fortress that no external event can breach.
Let us look closely at fear-based paranoia. When international tensions flare, your amygdala, the primitive alarm system in your brain, gets hijacked. It floods your body with cortisol and adrenaline, preparing you to either fight a physical enemy or run for your life. The problem is, you cannot physically fight geopolitical policies, nor can you outrun global economic shifts. So, this biological response gets trapped inside you, mutating into chronic anxiety and paranoia. You become a prisoner of your own biology, reacting blindly to shadows instead of strategically navigating the reality of the situation.
The antidote to this paralyzing paranoia is true self-reliance. This is not the cliché version of rugged individualism, but a deep, unshakable psychological self-trust. It is the profound realization that while you cannot control the decisions of political leaders, the movements of armies, or the fluctuations of the global market, you retain absolute authority over your own response. Shifting your focus from the macro chaos of the world to the micro control of your daily habits, thoughts, and emotional regulation is the first step in building a resilient mind that thrives under intense pressure.
What does it actually mean to become psychologically untouchable? It means developing a mental state so grounded and secure that the breaking news of the day cannot dictate your emotional weather. When the masses are swept up in the hysteria of a potential US-Iran conflict, the psychologically untouchable individual remains anchored. They observe the data, acknowledge the risks, but they do not internalize the panic. Their internal locus of control is so incredibly strong that external threats are processed as mere variables in a logical equation, rather than direct attacks on their core sense of safety.
In many ways, geopolitical conflict serves as a massive psychological mirror for society. The chaos we see on the global stage reflects the internal chaos harbored by millions of individuals. If you find yourself deeply destabilized by news of international tensions, it is often a powerful indicator of underlying insecurities in your own personal life. The global conflict is simply the trigger, not the root cause. By using this tension as a diagnostic tool, you can accurately identify where your own mental defenses are weak and begin the hard work of reinforcing your psychological borders. Building emotional resilience requires intentional practice, especially when the world feels dangerously unpredictable. It starts with emotional regulation, which is the ability to sit with discomfort without immediately reacting to it. When you read a terrifying headline, your first instinct might be to panic or share it out of pure outrage. Resilience is the vital pause between that stimulus and your response. It is taking a deep breath, evaluating the actual immediate threat to your life, and consciously choosing calm over chaos. This practice builds neural pathways that favor logic over fear-driven reactions. One of the greatest threats to your psychological survival during any geopolitical crisis is the modern media ecosystem. The 24-hour news cycle and algorithmic social platforms are financially incentivized to keep you in a state of perpetual fear. To survive and thrive, you must become a ruthless gatekeeper of your own attention. You need to curate your information diet with the exact same rigor you would apply to your physical diet. Limit your exposure to sensationalism, seek out objective long-form analysis, and give yourself permission to completely disconnect when the noise becomes deafening.
We can draw immense wisdom from the ancient philosophy of Stoicism during turbulent times like these. The Stoics lived through brutal wars, plagues, and empires collapsing entirely, yet they maintained their profound inner tranquility. Their secret was a relentless focus on the dichotomy of control. They fiercely protected their inner world, their personal judgments, their values, and their character, while accepting everything outside of themselves with deep equanimity. By adopting this stoic calm, you insulate your mind from the turbulence of foreign policies. You become an immovable object in a chaotic world.
There is a massive psychological difference between merely surviving and genuinely thriving. Survival mode is inherently defensive. It is crouched, fearful, and constantly waiting for the next blow to land. Thriving mode, however, is expansive. It is proactive, creative, and actively looking for hidden opportunities even within the chaos. When global conflicts create severe economic volatility, the survivor hides their resources out of fear. The thriver looks for new market inefficiencies and opportunities to provide massive value. By shifting your mindset from defense to offense, you reprogram your brain to see possibilities instead of destruction.
It is time to completely redefine what security actually means in our modern world. True security is no longer a physical bunker, a high concrete fence, or a massive stockpile of material resources. True security is a highly adaptable, fiercely resilient human mind. It is the deep-seated inner confidence that no matter what happens to the global economy, and no matter what unfolds on the world stage, you possess the intellectual and emotional tools to figure it out. When you anchor your security to your own mental agility, you strip all power away from fearmongers.
Your developed psychological resilience does not just benefit you individually. It transforms you into a powerful beacon of stability for everyone around you. In times of extreme global tension, anxiety is incredibly contagious. But remember, calm is also highly contagious. When your family, friends, or colleagues are spiraling into fear over the latest international developments, your grounded presence acts as a psychological anchor. Leadership is not about having all the answers to complex geopolitical problems. It is about maintaining absolute emotional regulation when others simply cannot. Mastery of your mind makes you a natural leader.
This brings us right back to our core premise today. The US-Iran conflict, and indeed any major global crisis you will face in your lifetime, is the ultimate wake-up call for your mind. It is a profound invitation to brutally assess your own psychological frailties. Are you easily manipulated by fear? Do you outsource your sense of safety to external circumstances that you cannot control? Or are you finally willing to do the deep inner work required to become truly self-reliant? Do not let this vital moment pass you by in a blur of anxiety. Harness the tension.
The world will always have conflicts. The geopolitical landscape will forever shift, bringing new threats and new anxieties to the forefront of the global consciousness. You cannot stop the storm from coming, but you can absolutely build a much better ship. Stop stockpiling fear and start building immense psychological capital today. Cultivate real emotional resilience, embrace true self-reliance, and confidently step off the carousel of collective panic. Become the unbreakable calm in the absolute center of the storm.
The psychology of survival demands your total self-mastery. The choice is yours. Stay strong and keep moving forward.